Wow. Oh my word. What a game of football that was. Well, go on, everyone. I hope you're doing well. And as you can see, we're doing a match reaction for one of the best Champions League games I have seen. Easily up there. It had everything that you wanted. Goals and wonder goals at that. Excellent skill performances. This is why we watch the creme de la creme in the Champions League and why we watch these games. Big up to everyone in the place. Sorry if I've gone a little bit orange. The light in the blue light. It's not working well, but you know what? This game was amazing. And guys in the chat, let me know your thoughts on this one because we're going to break it down. We're going to go through the key match incidents. We're going to give you the analysis. We're going to go through everything. But big up everyone who's in the chat right now. G Staffy is in the place. Graham saying what a game too. Big up Bobby in the place as well, who did a watch along for this one. And then we got Paxton, technical difficulties. Tariq, exactly. Fresh Chim. Jeez, you know it. Finally. And yeah, literally, this is all we can talk about. What a game this was. I think we need to get into it straight away, people. And let's start with before the game, the whole pre-match build-up. So when the lineups were released, we knew that João Cancelo was not going to be available for this one for Manchester City because of his suspension. But there was kind of doubts in terms of, Kyle Walker. And he's not quite fit enough for this game. Let me just bring the light. So it looks way better. He wasn't quite fit enough for this game. So we saw John Stones and Zinchenko as the fullbacks right there with John Stones up against Vinicius Jr. We thought that was going to be a problem. But then early in the first half, John Stones had to be replaced due to injury. And Fernandinho was the one that came in. So Manchester City were depleted even further during the game. But I thought that was an area of weakness. Ruben Dias, he came back into the side. You're thinking maybe that might balance it out for City, having their two best centre-backs there. Well, there are three centre-backs on the pitch, but all of their defenders there. And you thought maybe John Stones will play that reserved role. And Zinchenko down on the left, he will bring a lot more going forward. As, you know, Zinchenko is actually and was prior to playing left back, a central midfielder. So we thought maybe that would happen. With the midfield three, Rodri, De Bruyne, Silva, that's their best midfield, and that's what's proven to be this season. Gundogan not making it into their midfield. But we saw Gabriel Jesus off the back of his 4 goals up against Watford. And we thought maybe, right, Manchester City, what they're lacking in defence, they definitely have it in the midfield and going forward. And with Real Madrid talking about their side, they had their best backline out there. And then no Casemiro, who's on the bench. That was massive looking at it with Toni Kroos playing in that position. And as you can see from the scoreline, it didn't work out well, but I'll go into depth towards the end and let me know your thoughts in the chat of this game. And did you think that the Toni Kroos in the midfield, it didn't work? I definitely didn't. It didn't work at all, let's be honest. But we'll break down the reasons why and the moments and the incidents which led to that. We had Rodrigo out on the right. He's coming in. I think Valverde played there against Chelsea. Yeah, he did play there. And they had Casemiro, Kroos and Modric in the midfield. But Valverde came inside into the midfield. And let me show this to you now, just so that you guys can see. That's what the lineups were. So we had Valverde out there on that right side of midfield instead of being on the right wing. And after Rodrigo's influence in the last game, it's a no-brainer, really. Karim Benzema, Vinicius Jr, the big threats, of course, for Real Madrid. But yeah, guys, I've got the incidents that happened in this game. We're going to break it down. Just looking at the lineups, as I said, I thought Casemiro in midfield, that's going to be a big miss, huge miss, because nobody quite has the physicality and defensive capabilities that Casemiro does. We know Eduardo Camavinga. He's still very young, promising, a lot of potential. And I thought he did well when he came on into the game too. But yeah, I thought, no, Casemiro, this might be danger, and it might spark danger, and it might spark goals, and that's exactly what it did do. The weaknesses was defence for both sides, with City having none of their first choice fullbacks, and Real Madrid not having their central defensive midfielder. I thought that was going to be huge, and it did prove to be. But guys, who thought that we would see a start the way it did. 2 minutes in, Kevin De Bruyne scoring that goal. The cross from Riyad Mahrez. Wow. It was literally on point. You know what? Like kind of like this trim is at the moment. Jeez. You know what I mean, people? Yeah, I shouldn't be saying that. You guys should be telling me that. But the cross, the inside cross from Riyad Mahrez, De Bruyne-esque ball onto the head of Kevin De Bruyne, showing why and showing you guys that he actually was a striker previously in his days growing up, and he showed that predator instincts in front of goal. But from a Real Madrid perspective, I thought it was definitely Cruz's fault in how he allowed Riyad Mahrez to have the time to cross the ball. I don't think a Casemiro would have allowed Riyad Mahrez to have that, to face up on goal and have like a stance almost in basketball that you'd say is a triple threat, where he could go on the outside, he could go on the inside, he could shoot, he could cross. I think he's a bit too far out to shoot. But yeah, Cruz didn't show that he didn't quite have that defensive know-how that we see from Casemiro. I'm sure Casemiro would have got a lot tighter and more physical to Riyad Mahrez there. But I also have to give some criticism to Dani Carvajal, who was beaten at the far post. And in this game in general, I thought Dani Carvajal got run ragged in the first half. And I thought he was a weak link against Chelsea too in the previous leg. And that was starting to show already. And we know with Manchester City, that with their attack and how hard they press, Real Madrid couldn't cope with it. They got suffocated. All the moments where Manchester City were looking dangerous was when Real Madrid had the ball in their own third, in there with Courtois in the defence and the midfielders dropping deep. They couldn't live with that Manchester City press. It was ridiculous. We had like Kevin De Bruyne and Gabriel Jesus pressing as a 2 up top, and then they were supported by the likes of Phil Foden, Riyad Mahrez, making it a 4, a bank of 4, and then you're seeing Bernardo Silva and Rodri being in that second line almost. So we had like a 4 and a 2 just in behind, and it was relentless. And then you obviously have the fullbacks and the centre backs. The fullbacks are quite high, coming inside if there was any chance it got past that middle line, that front 4. But it didn't. It rarely did, because the likes of Militao, Thibaut Courtois, they couldn't handle that City press, which is what we've seen. We've seen it with the likes of City and Liverpool in the Premier League. But you don't think that in La Liga that Real Madrid would face that kind of press with such aggression, physicality, and such energy throughout, and they couldn't cope with it. And in the 11th minute, only 9 minutes later, Gabriel Jesus doubled the lead after Carvajal once again was all over the place, whipped in ball from Kevin De Bruyne on Carvajal's side, from the left for Manchester City. He was given so much time and so much room. Carvajal has to be closer there. Once again, Carvajal and Cruz at fault, letting the ball come across. But I don't think it was Toni Kroos having the biggest mistake there. It was from David Alaba, letting that ball slide. He looked a bit rash. He looked a bit more like Eder Militao, which we've seen in the games against Chelsea too, or the game, shall I say, sorry. And then tonight, he was looking a little bit rash. And David Alaba, someone who's a much more composed centre-back since he moved into that position at Bayern Munich, he goes for a swipe at the ball. It breaks through for Gabriel Jesus, or Gabi Jesus, exactly, the one who's been linked with Arsenal. But he's continued that hot form, and what a ball KDB put in. And from there, it looked like easy street for Man City against Real Madrid. It looked like Man City, they're rattling them here. But then even after that, Riyad Mahrez, there was a couple of chances for Manchester City from Riyad Mahrez and Phil Foden, which Riyad Mahrez, with that chance in the 26th minute, he has to square that ball. He has to, surely. Pep Guardiola, you saw him on the sideline. He was angry. He was berating. He looked like a referee's just giving him a dodgy position, but he went mad at Riyad Mahrez. And Riyad Mahrez goes for goal and he hits the side netting. And surely he's got to play that earlier, because he takes a touch with the ball, and Carvajal does well in the end to close out the space. and it was too difficult. Then he had to go for goal or slow it down or, you know, cut it back. There was so many options that he could have done, and he took the wrong option throughout the game. Riyad Mahrez, he had plenty of chances. And then Phil Foden also had a chance where he tried to shoot across goal, but he was off balance, and that didn't allow him to get a clean strike. But Manchester City knocking on the door, could have scored 3, could have scored 4 in those chances. But then Real Madrid, after the 30th minute, they started to grow into the game a lot more, get a little bit more confidence. We saw in the 30th minute David Alaba with a header, the first chance for Real Madrid in the game. But that was a little bit of a warning sign from them, coming from a corner. I know there was a few issues at Manchester City before that, no real chances created, but they was giving the ball away. We had Ederson giving it to Diaz, who gave it straight to Vinicius Jr., who took a wild shot. We saw Ederson like playing with fire like he does, looking cool, calm, collected. But Real Madrid, with their front line, that's where their real threat was, and it proved to be. So it looked like City were the only ones who were the biggest threat to themselves in the game. But then 3 minutes after that David Alaba chance, Karim Benzema with an ice cool, not even an ice cool finish, clinical. That Karim Benzema, one of the best players in the world right now. We've seen it in the Champions League, hat tricks against Chelsea, PSG, people, and Karim Benzema. One chance, one goal. The ball was whipped in by Ferland Mendy, and then with his left foot, he gets it, controls it with the side of his foot. Excellent finish from Karim Benzema. And that little bit of sniff, that little bit of space, he sniffed it out, and he sniffed out that little bit of space, and he just coolly guided it into the off the post it was, and into the goal. And literally, Manchester City, they couldn't. There wasn't really much criticism for that goal, like I would say with the other goals. But yeah, it just looked like Man City, they weren't getting control of this game. They were losing a little bit. But then we saw the injury to John Stones, and that I thought that was a real unsettler for Man City, because at this point it's 2-1. Man City still in the lead. You know, when you got players like Benzema, Vinicius Jr, Kroos, Modric, they're always going to create opportunities. And with how good that Karim Benzema has been this year and the past couple of seasons, actually, as soon as he gets a chance, he puts it away in lethal form. Is he the best striker in Europe at the moment? Let me know your thoughts, guys. Let me know your thoughts on that in the chat. Is Karim Benzema the best striker in Europe right now? Interesting. But then we also saw the shot from Rodrigo too. He gets his shot off as the game turns, and we really saw Real Madrid coming in the ascendancy, and you could sense it with the Etihad. They were getting nervous at that point in the game. And yeah, he was starting to really think, maybe there's another goal for for Real Madrid in here. Maybe that is going to come. But then half time comes, you think, right, Man City, they're going to regroup. They're just going to, control the game, maybe grab another goal on the counter attack, because with Real Madrid's defense all night, they were a shambles. Manchester City were the better side. They deserved to win the game. But the scoreline does flatter Real Madrid in a way. In a way, it flatters Real Madrid, but also looking back at it, when you're that good and you have those players who can have those moments of brilliance, does it really flatter you? That's what the quality they do possess, and the reason why they are in the semi-final. And not just that, they didn't fold, they don't break, and that's what you can see. These guys are serial winners in the Champions League, ladies and gents, and there's that different mentality. They were struggling. They couldn't cope with this, Manchester City press. They're at home. The Etihad was on top. There was a good atmosphere at the Etihad from what I could hear from the TV. So it did look like a hostile environment for Real Madrid coming against this side, relentless press. We know how Pep Guardiola sets up this side, but Real Madrid, Carlo Ancelotti's side, they dug in, they survived, they suffered, they went through all that suffering, and when it was their moment, they were taking it. And you saw that, and had been in the game and still at 2-1 at halftime. Yeah, they were still in it. It flattered them. As I said, City could have scored 3 or 4. But they kept going and they were in it. And they ended the first half on top. But then the second half comes, and straight away, similar to the first half at the start, Man City coming in out the blocks. Riyad Mahrez, ridiculous run, cuts inside, tries to curl it. Riyad Mahrez himself could have had a hat-trick tonight. Riyad Mahrez is going to be kicking himself. How has he not even got on the score sheet after tonight? Hit the post. He had another chance as well, where he took it down the line. It was brilliant skill from Riyad Mahrez. Got it across goal. The angle's tight. To be fair, it was close enough to the goal, but it was a tight angle. You can't expect him to score from there, but he should have easily had 2 in this game. In the 48th minute, he had that chance. And then not too long later, 5 minutes later, Fernandinho, who, guys, we talk about this because Fernandinho was struggling. He was struggling in this throughout the game, but he had a good start when he came on into that right back position. When he came on, he started well. He was aggressive. He was getting into challenges, getting tight to Vinicius Jr. And he actually won the ball back for this third goal to make it 3-1 to Manchester City and whipped in an excellent cross to Phil Foden in the back post, and he headed it in. And guys, we'll talk about these individual players. I'm just talking through the key match incidents at the moment. Then we will discuss, because I can see there's plenty of comments coming in. We'll definitely discuss it. And let me know your thoughts on the key match incidents in itself. And if I forgot something, raise it up and we'll talk about it too together. But yeah, Phil Foden made it 3-1. Excellent cross. And Fernandinho showing those bits of quality. But then 2 minutes later, a rapid response. But guys, Vinicius Jr., this guy is on a different planet right now. So the ball's been played forward by Ferland Mendy. Just a straight ball down the line. He's still in his own half. As I said, Fernandinho was getting tight to Vinicius Jr. He was getting close. He was marking him well. And he was getting really aggressive with him. But this is where Vinicius Jr. recognized what he was doing. And this is what top players do and top quality. And so young, Vinicius Jr., and he's showing that he's got the understanding of the game, which has really developed this year. Fernandinho gets tight. He rolls him. Do you know what he does? He opens... Guys, I'm recommending you to go check this out at some point. Opens his legs, dummies, the ball goes through, but then it also goes through Fernandinho because Fernandinho is getting so tight to Vinicius Jr. He can't react in time. Vinicius Jr. spins off of Fernandinho. You know he's not catching. Fernandinho is not catching Vinicius Jr. But then the run, the pace, the speed, the dribbling ability, but then the ice cool finish to slot it past Ederson, making it 3-2. Giving Real Madrid that lifeline and keeping the game close. 1-goal lead. But then later on into that game. So that was in the 55th minute that happened. But then if we look later on in the game, people, yes, listen, 74th minute, Bernardo Silva with it. What? That's the best goal of the night. It is the best goal of the night for me, Bernardo Silva. Let me know your thoughts, people. Was Bernardo Silva's goal the best goal of the night? So Zinchenko, and you know what? We got to give a little bit of a round of applause to the referee, because referees were quick to criticize them, but not so quick enough to praise them. He played a good advantage for Manchester City with Alexander Zinchenko being fouled. And then what we see afterwards is Bernardo Silva, the best goal of the night. I feel like Camavinga stopped. We saw when I was watching the replay, Camavinga stopped because the referee goes to blow the whistle. And I feel like that unsettled Thibaut Courtois as well. However, he was blindsided. In fact, there was a Real Madrid defender in front of him in terms of where Bernardo Silva took the shot. It's unexpected. It gets beat at his near post, but with such precision and power, I don't think the goalkeeper could react anyway, even if he was, there wasn't a foul in that situation, because it was struck so well. And we know with Thibaut Courtois, with the big frame that he has, he can cover it. But with the power and the position that he was originally in, I don't think he could have saved that. And you can't place it any better with your hands for that Bernardo Silva goal, ladies and gents. That was the goal of the night. That made it 4-2. But then we had a penalty. I told you this game had everything to make it to bring them back into it. And it was a crossing. Was it a penalty? It flicks off of Laporte's head and then hits his arm, which is in an unnatural position. So, yeah. it is a penalty. I thought it was a penalty. Let me know your thoughts, because I thought it was a stonewall penalty, really. But then Karim Benzema with a Panenka, just showing his quality once again. And Karim Benzema, ice cool. There was a laser, by the way. Did you guys see that laser that was pointed at his eye? I thought that was bad. And I thought, you know what? There was a laser initially. This was before he took the penalty. I'm not sure if it was shone on his face or towards his direction when the penalty was taken, but it was before the penalty, trying to distract him. And yeah, that didn't distract him. Panenka's the penalty straight down the middle. And what a game this was. And I want to know, was this the best Champions League game that you've seen? I know we got loads of Liverpool fans in the chat, so they're not going to agree with that. They've had some, great Champions League nights themselves, with obviously the final being the best one for them. But in terms of just pure quality, and there was weaknesses for both sides in this game, given injuries and suspensions. But these guys really, these two teams in Manchester City and Real Madrid, took advantage of that. And you need to still have the quality to take advantage of these moments. And the spectacle they put out for us is just wonderful. And this is why we watch the Champions League. This is why we love football. I'm not a Real Madrid or a Manchester City fan, but this is why we continue to love the game and keep watching it. And you know what? We look forward to nights like these as football fans. And it was just tremendous. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat right now. And if you've got any major incidents that you want to talk about, let me know. Because, yeah, I thought this was a phenomenal game of football. And then we'll go through each player and we talk about what their performance was like. If there's obviously a player that, that was okay or average, we'll quickly talk about them. But there wasn't too many average performances. There was some below average performances at points. But then we also know these players both teams are top of the league for a reason. Real Madrid, they're going to win their league. I think they only need a draw against Espanyol on the weekend to win the league. But, Manchester City being pushed by Liverpool. But they're both top of the league. And you can see that when they do struggle, when they do have these tough moments, they have enough to get through. And Real Madrid, they're going to be happy with that result. They're going to be happy because this scoreline flatters Real Madrid in terms of how the game went, because Manchester City had the better opportunities, were in the most dangerous positions, and Real Madrid, just as a whole, even off the ball, they were getting dispossessed in dangerous areas. If we look at the statistics, they're quite even in terms of shots on target. 5 shots on target from each, 16 shots on target. 16 shots from Manchester City, but 11 from Real Madrid. So this is what we're saying, people. It's quite even in that aspect. But the 60% possession, and it's not even just the possession, it's where the possession was. It was in the middle third and in Real Madrid's final third, their defensive thirds. It was in the 2 thirds that Manchester City would want to be playing in. And yeah, I thought there was a few chances. Riyad Mahrez, oh man, he had a few chances he should have taken. But let me see what you guys are saying in the chat right now. Then we'll dissect each player in terms of the positions and they took and the weaknesses. And I'm going to try, as I start doing these match reactions a little bit more, I'll try and get like a lineup up on screen. I know what to use, but I just need to prepare it in time and those things. So yeah, and then we can really drag and like what we see on the TV, guys. We will do that in a very analytical way to discuss about these players' positions. But I will talk about it for now for those of you that are listening. But big up to everyone in the place. And Matt G saying, wow, that was football. That was football indeed. Big up Mum in the place right now. Benzema dragging Real Madrid as far as he can. And perhaps we just need to have a word on Benzema. He dragged them through the first leg against Chelsea and the second leg against PSG. This one might be a bit too far, but who knows? When we get to the Bernabeu, Manchester City, they're going to have to take lessons from Chelsea in this game. When they go to the Bernabeu, they could be in the lead, but Real Madrid just have the quality like that from Luka Modric, the likes of. We'll talk about Modric because I thought, once again, in the first half, he struggled, but then towards the second, we'll talk of that a little bit more. Don't we worry about that. But yeah, Benzema doing all he can. Big up, John. Some game indeed. Danny Ceballos, Arsenal's past. Gabriel Jesus, Arsenal's future. And if you're an Arsenal fan, or Mikel Arteta or Edu watching this, if Gabriel Jesus is available, this is why you take him. And Arsenal fans who are watching, please tell me, would you take Gabriel Jesus? Are you convinced? Because I certainly would. And just seeing his game tonight, how he was holding up the ball, winning free kicks, he had just looking Champions League level in this semi-final up against elite opposition. Wouldn't say elite defenders in Militao and Alaba in this game, but yeah, in particular Militao, he had him on ropes. But yeah, just everything he brought to the side, he wasn't just being that focal point up front. He was holding up the ball well, winning free kicks, as I said, but also taking these wide areas, linking up the play with the likes of Bernardo Silva, Foden, Mahrez, De Bruyne, and really overloading Real Madrid in these half spaces and then moving inside and being a threat in the box. Didn't have too many chances apart from the goal, but it shows his clinical ability to go and to put chances away, which is what people thought and people think isn't what his key strength is in his game and doesn't score enough goals. But maybe that's because of what his role is required at Manchester City with the amount of goal scorers that Man City have. As even if we look on the pitch right like today, like Mahrez, he didn't get a goal, but you got Foden who grabbed the goal, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne. Then also you got the centre backs who could also pop up with a goal. Manchester City always have about 4 or 5 goal scorers on the pitch who can score at any moment, at any time. So yeah, definitely. Dani Ceballos came on. Didn't really do much. It was late on in the game. Like Alaba, more as a left back, personally says Pax. Yeah, he has transitioned into that centre-back position of late, and it happened later on towards his the end of his Bayern Munich spell and career, should I say, sorry. I like him as a centre-back. He adds a lot more composure in this modern day. You don't need to be this big physical centre-back, especially in the Champions League anyway. I didn't think he had a great game, but I don't think it's personally his fault because in possession, the worst players were at the back was Courtois, Militao, and Carvajal. I didn't think they dealt with City's press well, and I thought that City trapped those guys. They let the likes of Militao and Carvajal have the ball, and then when they have it, they sprung presses on them, sprung traps in a similar way that we see. Liverpool, they do a little bit more rock and roll, and they really go for it. Like they just go at full tilt and they just suffocate teams. Whereas Manchester City, they trap you in a way. They're a bit more methodical with their press. They know the times to engage. And I think as an Arsenal fan, that's what I'm seeing, what Mikel Arteta is trying to do also and trying to emulate at Arsenal. So yeah, we know the players. It feels like he has a dossier and he understands which players are going to be the weakest under pressure, which may fold and may struggle, even if it's they may get the ball past or through into the next line, but it's quality of pass. They may make the likes of Cruz, Valverde, Modric struggle to control the ball at times, which will also then allow them to win it in that second line with the likes of Rodri, with the likes of Silva, as I said, Zinchenko and Stones, the likes of them coming inside and helping. Big up to yourself as well, Jamie. Thank you, Chris, for the haircut, man. Hey, you look like a brand new Tariq. I do indeed. It was a long time coming, man. Appreciate that one there, Chris. You're a top man and legend as always. Big up Mohammed as well. Hope you're keeping well, my brother. Hi, Tariq. When will you do a fan show about Arsenal? It's now a long time. Looking forward to talking to you, mate. All the best, Mohammed. Big up to yourself, Mohammed. We'll be doing one soon, man. I've got a show coming tomorrow, but I will be doing another one next week. Mohammed, I'll shout you over on Twitter and I'll let you come on, my bro. Appreciate all the love and and you know what, always willing to talk Arsenal with yourself. So yeah, I'll drop you a DM on Twitter for next week, my bro. Thank you. Big up Luca as well, my fellow Arsenal fan too, and King, who joined me for the Premier League review yesterday, saying, fresh haircut, what a game today. City should have scored 6 or 7 goals. This season has been entertaining, both in the CL and Premier League. And I definitely agree with that one there, King. They should have scored about 6 or 7 chances in the first half, chances in the second. You know what, you could probably say that Mahrez should have scored about 6 or 7, but definitely at least 50% of those goals that you're talking about. Oh, man, crazy game, and I'm seriously looking forward to the second leg now, guys. The second leg at the Bernabeu with the Real Madrid fans, Manchester City away from home. who Man City got this weekend. They've got Leeds away, so that will be a difficult game given Leeds' precarious position. But then Real Madrid, they've got Espanyol. They may be coming on off of a high, winning the league, securing the league title, shall I say. It's just the inevitable now, waiting for them. So yeah, it could be a perfect time for Real Madrid to be coming up against City to do one of the great nights we've seen at the Bernabeu. But Man City still have the lead, 1-goal lead, no away goals in this game. So, you know, if Real Madrid do go 1-0 up, it's not like they can sit back on their laurels and try and counter-attack, because there will be extra time. And then they're in a precarious position because all it takes is 1 goal from Man City to try and win it and nick it. So, yeah, the second leg is finally poised. And next week, I'll be doing a watch along for that, people. Don't you worry about that one for sure. Security really can't stop people bringing lasers in. Ridiculous, really. Yeah. I wonder why. I'm trying to think in terms of what could they do. Yeah, it's difficult when you've got so much people coming in the stadium. And Pax, I'll be real, going to a few stadiums that I've been in, even during COVID times and whatnot, depending on, do you know what, with the laser, it doesn't even depend on where you're sitting, because you could be in the upper tier and you could still shine that laser down. So yeah, when I went to the Wolves Arsenal game, I didn't really get much check-in, and I was worried about that because I was thinking, you know what, I wanted to bring my microphone so I could make it a little bit better and so you could have clearer audio when I'm talking in the stadium. And I was a bit skeptical. So it's like, if I can't bring this microphone in, I'm not going to be able to talk to you guys. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd lose this microphone. I won't be able to keep it and that. But I could have brought it in the end. I still won't take the risk though for the next time I go to a game. But yeah, they do need to up the security on that. And there was a few pitch invasions as well. That's a good point you need to bring up, Pax. Yeah, so true. Definitely. City need to be better defensively to win the CL. Yeah, I agree, Rich. I do think though that the you know, with João Cancelo and Kyle Walker being out, it's a massive miss for them. It's two key players in that back line. Also, João Cancelo for creativity, and definitely Kyle Walker defensively. John Stones' injury did get Real Madrid back into the game as City lost control and they look more dangerous on the counter-attack. Real Madrid with Vinicius once again, as I said, for that second goal for Real Madrid, that was excellent. He just spun Fernandinho and showed really Fernandinho's age. And yeah, it's his last season. And yeah, it's a shame for Fernandinho because we still did see moments of quality and moments where, you know, it looked like the old Fernandinho, but he's just at that point now in his career where he's not ready to play at these levels consistently for 90 minutes. Maybe can do a job like he did in the at the end of the second leg against Atletico Madrid. I thought he was excellent in coming on in that cameo that he had. But then we saw against Liverpool at Wembley, he got overrun in the midfield there too. So yeah, I do agree. And City missed Kyle Walker's pace in defence. None of the defenders or Rodri is fast. I think Cancelo, yes, he is eligible for the second game indeed. Yeah, it was 2 yellow cards, I believe, up against Atletico Madrid, which ruled him out. So he will be ready. And Kyle Walker, that's going to be huge. And King and everyone in the chat, Kyle Walker, if he is back, he will be coming up against Vinicius Jr. And I would back Kyle Walker to be able to keep up with Vinicius Jr. And I think even Vinicius Jr., even with John Stones at right back, was looking a threat in that first half. Probably needed to make the right decisions. He had a chance where he went for it, but he just went wide and he could have pulled it back for Karim Benzema. You know, Vinicius Jr. is still young and, you know what, he's always a threat, and he did make the right decision in the end when it mattered. So, yeah, I think with Kyle Walker, he's going to be able to get a lot tighter to him and not worry about that quick burst of acceleration that Vinicius has, because he's got just as he's even, you know what, it's going to be, we'll see about the race. Who are you backing, Kyle Walker or Vinicius Jr.? Oh, it's hard. With the ball, dribbling with the ball, I'll back Vinicius if he's dribbling right at Kyle Walker. But if he tries to knock it past Kyle Walker or do what he did to Fernandinho, Kyle Walker's catching him up. I think he will. So, yeah, interesting. But I'm going to go through the lineups with you right now. Let me zoom in. Talk about some outstanding performers and some underwhelming performers. What should we talk about first? Should we talk about the outstanding or the underwhelming? You know what? We'll end on a positive and we'll talk about the players who I thought struggled tonight. And it is going to be majority Real Madrid players. and I think that was Danny Carvajal. I posted a tweet out on Twitter, of course, where I also post tweets. But yeah, I said that Danny Carvajal is getting ripped to shreds, and it might be the time where he needs to do a Gary Neville when he played against West Brom and hang up those boots. Not necessarily hang up those boots, because I did think that he recovered well in the second half, but he still got ripped to shreds. But he wasn't as bad as it was in the first half. But yeah, Danny Carvajal for me, he had a shocker defensively, and he's at fault for. You know what? You got to think of it. The first goal, you let De Bruyne run off of him. He wasn't tight enough. He wasn't alert enough with De Bruyne's run. Phil Foden scored the third goal. Once again, this Jesus goal, he gives so much time for Kevin De Bruyne to whip the ball in. And then the Bernardo Silva goal also comes on his side. So Danny Carvajal, unfortunately, was the worst player tonight. And I think if Manchester City, when they go to the Bernabeu, they're going to be hoping Danny Carvajal's playing on that side. But for Real Madrid, I'm thinking what they could possibly do. I know they've got Lucas Vazquez. Defensively, he wouldn't give me too much confidence either. Maybe Nacho goes out there, or Nacho comes inside and Eder Militao goes to right back. Do you think that could happen, people? Do you think that would give them a little bit more stability? Obviously, Militao's not going to be going as forward as much as what Danny Carvajal was, but, you know, kind of be what John Stones was meant to be, with a little bit more athleticism. And yeah, just try and really marshal Phil Foden, who was, you know, once again, we'll talk about him. I don't want to go, I'll keep going on the tangent too much. I want to talk about these players one at a time, but Paxton saying, I like Carvajal, but it's time to move on. Yeah, you can't criticize him too much and say like he's an awful player. I just think it is his time. I do. Champions League winner, missed the consistency at Real Madrid, but he's starting to lose that a little bit. Injuries are that, you know, he's always had his injury issues. And I thought he was, they're weak link tonight at the back. Also, Militao, another one who was underperforming, looked quite rash on the ball. His pace helped him out a couple of times, very quick and an athletic centre-back. Thibaut Courtois playing at the back. He wasn't looking great. Toni Kroos, I thought, defensively, he was a shambles. I thought he was making fouls. He couldn't keep up with the play. He looked so immobile. We know he's not the most mobile of midfielders anyway, and what Toni Kroos brings for Real Madrid in possession, playing the ball forward, springing the attacks. I thought he did that well, and okay. Modric, I thought he was better. Challenges, pressing. Modric is like fine wine. The brother just doesn't age at all. So yeah, I thought the main underperformers, if I was to say two, was Carvajal and Kroos for me. Militao, Alaba, big moment. Just the whole defense was poor, but yeah, Kroos in that midfield, he wasn't helping. Valverde brought a lot of energy. I thought he was trying to do all of Toni Kroos's running at one point defensively, but on the ball, I think, you know, he's not that bad. But Manchester City, we'll talk and we'll praise now. We'll praise Real Madrid's players first, because Vinicius Jr., you got to give credit to a lad. When I thought it was, as I said, Fernandinho came on, struggled a little bit, but he sensed where the danger was, and he knew that the space was in behind because of how aggressive Fernandinho was getting tight to him and how he let that ball roll. And from then, he just caused Fernandinho problems on problems. Every time that Real Madrid were going forward, they looked dangerous. Every time Man City was going forward, they looked dangerous, which is why you couldn't take your eyes off this game. I know a lot of you guys may have been watching the NBA playoffs, but I felt like I was watching a basketball match right now. So yeah, it was crazy with Vinicius Jr., Karim Benzema. I wonder how many touches he had of that ball tonight. I wonder. I'll have to try and find out, because I don't think he had too many touches, but every time he did, he was looking dangerous, playing the ball into the attacking players like Rodrigo, who got taken off. He was a threat, but he just wasn't quite there with his final product. He's not at the level of Vinicius Jr. yet, but you can also see the massive potential with Rodrigo. And just because he's not at that Vinicius Jr. level yet doesn't mean he won't ever get there. Some players develop at a faster pace, and I feel like Vinicius has received more games and more game time, than a Rodrigo. But yeah, Rodrigo, you can still see those flashes of brilliance that he has. But yeah, Benzema, Vinicius, Rodrigo, that will be the front three, I think, at the Santiago Bernabeu with City's high line. Interesting to see how Rodrigo will do up against how Rodrigo will do up against João Cancelo if he does play at left back with Kyle Walker at right back, of course. But another underwhelming one, in a way. I thought Zinchenko was good going forward. He won the ball back a few times, but that was definitely the area of weakness as well. The fullbacks, I thought of it before the game. I had the notes written down. I said, yeah, I think that's where Real Madrid could get some joy in the counter. And they did, ultimately. Zinchenko wasn't the greatest. He was looking... Yeah, you're not... Do you think it's a lack of match sharpness, guys? Do you think that's what it might be for Zinchenko? Let me know your thoughts. But Paxton saying here, Nacho, what a dead baller. Exactly. I might even be inclined to say Cedric over Nacho. I don't know what your opinions are on Cedric. Yeah, definitely. Pax, I definitely do. And that's saying something. But yeah, Zinchenko at times, I thought he was probably an underwhelming player for City. But the excellent players were almost everywhere, apart from the fullbacks for City. I thought Rodri was looking tremendous, started the game well, really setting the tempo in midfield, controlling it, progressing the ball well. Silva, my man of the match, though. Yeah, come on. You can't look past Kevin De Bruyne. You cannot. You cannot look past Kevin De Bruyne. The passes he was playing, linking up Jesus. I know there was one time in the first half he played the ball through, and it looked like a dangerous opportunity, a goal-scoring opportunity, but it hit Jesus' heels because he lost bearing of where the ball was, because that's how good Kevin De Bruyne's passes are. You can't even see them. And Phil Foden, I thought he was causing major problems. As I said, Carvajal was the weak link. He sensed the danger. Very neat feet. He made a huge difference in the game when he came off the bench against Atletico Madrid in the first leg, and they roughed him up in the second for that very reason. But I don't think they could get near him tonight. And Valverde was there trying to help. He was still weaving his way past and scoring a goal like he did. Phil Foden was excellent. Mahrez, if he grabs a goal tonight, you're talking about him maybe to be probably to be man of the match, because he was tormenting Mendy on that side too. Modric and Cruz. I thought Modric was doing well, but when Cruz was coming over to support, he was standing off him, and when he was looking like he was stuck in the mud at times, just knocking the ball past him and making fouls. And yeah, it was just on a consistent basis. I felt like they struggled in that left-hand side, mainly in the half spaces with Mendy, Modric and Cruz in particular, not looking well. And David Alaba wasn't showing that sort of leadership in that side of the pitch. But yeah, when you've got the likes of Kevin De Bruyne and Mahrez on that side, it's going to be difficult. And the diminutive and skillful play on the left that you see with Silva and Foden, yeah, it was a hard night's work. And we've got a real tie coming up in the second leg. So yeah, I'm gonna put a poll up in the chat. I'm definitely gonna put a poll up in the chat because I want to see who you guys think is going through in the second leg. Who is going through? Let me know your thoughts in the chat and in the comments if you're watching afterwards. Who is going through to the final? Will it be Real Madrid? Are they going to make a comeback at the Santiago Bernabeu? Are they going to do that, guys? Or is it going to be Man City? Are they going to see this through and prove to be too much and continue this level of performance and maybe even extend their lead and, you know, be full worth of their win? That they should have been. They deserve the win. They should have won by more. But you got to give credit where credit's due to the quality and of Real Madrid and the resilience for them to keep playing and keep pushing. And I think that's quite obvious now. KDB and then Bruno. And do you know what, Pax? I was going to tweet this. I didn't tweet it, but I'm going to say it on stream right now. Let me get this in big head, full HD. Kevin De Bruyne is okay, here we go. Kevin De Bruyne is in the top 5 of central midfielders of all time. I'm saying it right now. I'm saying it. I'm putting it out there. Kevin De Bruyne is up there in top 5 central midfielders of all time. And I will class him as a central midfielder because he does play in that 8 role. He does a lot defensively as well, Kevin De Bruyne, with his energy, with his pressing. And he takes up these like false nine positions at times and gets into the box with his late runs. If we're going to talk about Frank Lampard being a central midfielder, then we can certainly talk about Kevin De Bruyne being a chief creator that he is, a goal scorer. Is he Man City's top goal scorer this season? I'm sure he is. And probably, maybe, I think he probably is actually. So yeah, Kevin De Bruyne, top 5 of all time. Back saying, tweet it out. I will indeed. And do I need to elaborate why I think he is? Because we know this, the quality that he has. But it's not just the quality, the ability, you know, with the passes, the goals, the energy, the progression, the dribbling, how he drives them up the pitch too. It's also, he does it in the big moments, in the big games. And I know, who was I talking to? Was it Hanif I was talking to yesterday? A Chelsea fan, if you don't know, guys. And he was saying that, Rudiger. I mean, yeah, not Rudiger, sorry. Rudiger's going to Real Madrid. But Kevin De Bruyne didn't turn up in the final and the Champions League. I mean, it's hardly really his fault. I don't think any player for Manchester City turned up in that game. And Pep Guardiola didn't help, of course. But then the elbow mashing up the guy's eye socket definitely doesn't help either. But if he does make the final this year, I'm sure he's out for redemption. And if he does, if Kevin De Bruyne gets his hands on that Champions League trophy, I think I can rest assured. I'm saying it now. Whilst he doesn't have the hands on the European trophy, on the UCL, top 5 midfielder of all time. I'm saying it. Cruz Matic meter 80. Yeah, 800 meter race is like watching snails. Yeah. Imagine that. Could you? 800 meter race with Cancelo coming back. City hold out for the win, says Pax. Yeah, I can see that happening, certainly. And I think what Cancelo will also bring is a lot more creativity from those areas. Could you imagine him up against Silva? With Silva, Foden, against Carvajal too? Yeah, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem indeed. And indeed, John, it was some game indeed. So I've said indeed about 3 times now. Am I going to get a sponsorship for Indeed jobs? Let me know, people. Tweet it out. I mean, tweet. I'm getting silly now. I'm getting delirious. This is it. But guys, I'm going to wrap this match reaction up here. I will be doing the same for the Liverpool-Villarreal game tomorrow. It might not be as long. I thought I'd make this a long one because of how great this game was. It was a Champions League classic that we're all going to be here and enjoy. Guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are new. And hit that like button if you haven't done so already, guys. What are we on in terms of likes? We're on 10 likes at the moment. Can we get this up to 15 by tomorrow? For me, by the time I wake up, can we get this to 15 likes? Let me know, guys. And also share these videos to a friend. It's a bit different content than what I'm usually doing. That I usually do in terms of watch-alongs. I'm not doing a watch-along this week for any of the midweek games because I'm trying to get to grips with this different content. See if you guys like it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. It's going to be vital for you guys to tell me. Do you enjoy it? Is there ways that I can improve? Let me know. What do you want to see from these match reactions? Do you want to see stats? Do you want me just to talk on the eye test? Whatever, let me know your thoughts. Yeah, indeed, in the Scouse accent. I get you. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I get you. But guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. Love to you all. I'll catch you tomorrow for that Liverpool Villarreal post-match match reaction. Love to you all, and we're out. Peace.